Interestingly, more than 5.6 million tons of cocoa beans are produced worldwide to satisfy the demand for cocoa powder in baking drinks and countless other products. Behind that number is a fascinating process that transforms raw beans into the fine, aromatic powder we know so well. So, how does it all happen? Well, let's uncover it all here at the Process World. Cocoa's story began thousands of years ago in the lush rainforests of Central and South America. Archaeological findings trace its use back over 5,000 years, where early civilizations like the Mayo Chinchipe in present-day Ecuador cultivated and consumed cacao. Later, the Maya and Aztecs turned it into a prized drink, often mixed with spices and reserved for ceremonies or royalty. When Spanish explorers brought cacao to Europe in the 1500s, it transformed from a bitter spiced drink into the sweeter chocolate people know today. The real turning point came in 1828, when Dutch inventor Casparus van Houten created the cocoa press. This machine separated cocoa butter from cocoa solids, making it possible to produce a fine, dry powder. His son, Coenraad, later developed the Dutch process, treating the powder with alkaline salts to mellow the flavor and deepen its color. These two inventions didn't just change how cocoa was made, they shaped the entire modern chocolate industry and laid the foundation for the factory methods still used today. But how exactly is the process like? Well, before we get into that, please leave a like and subscribe for more amazing videos like this one. Now moving on. Before a single bean reaches a factory floor, its transformation begins on tropical farms near the equator. Cocoa trees thrive in hot, humid climates, and their bright pods are harvested by hand when ripe. Inside each pod are the raw cocoa beans, covered in a sweet, sticky pulp. Farmers scoop them out and begin the crucial fermentation process, usually in wooden boxes or covered heaps, where natural microbes break down the pulp and develop the deep, complex flavors that will define the final cocoa. After several days of fermentation, the beans are spread out under the sun to dry. This step reduces their moisture content, which prevents mold during storage and transport. Farmers carefully turn the beans to ensure even drying, sometimes for a week or more until they reach the ideal condition for shipping. Only then are the beans bagged, often in jute sacks, and sent on their way to processing plants around the world. This stage is all about setting the foundation, because once the beans leave the farm, the factory's role is to refine what nature and careful farming have already created. When the cocoa beans finally arrive at the factory, the first order of business is making sure they meet the right standards. Workers and machines team up to inspect the beans for quality, checking their size, color, and moisture levels. Any batch that shows signs of damage, mold, or contamination is set aside. This careful selection is important because even a small number of bad beans can affect the flavor and safety of the final product. Once the quality is confirmed, the beans go through a thorough cleaning process. Specialized equipment removes dust, stones, metal fragments, and other debris that might have hitched a ride during transport. Air classifiers, sieves, and magnets are all part of the process to ensure nothing unwanted remains. After cleaning, the beans are stored in large, climate-controlled silos to keep them fresh and stable until the roasting stage begins. Roasting is where cocoa beans begin to show their true character. Inside massive rotating drums, the beans are heated to temperatures between 120 and 160 degrees Celsius. This stage develops the rich, chocolatey aroma we associate with cocoa, while also driving off excess moisture. The heat triggers a series of complex chemical reactions that deepen the flavor profile, making it more intense and balanced. The length and temperature of roasting can vary depending on the desired end product. Shorter roasting times keep flavors lighter and fruitier, while longer roasts bring out deeper, more robust notes. Roasting also loosens the outer shell from the nib inside, setting the stage for the next step, separating the edible core from its protective coating. After roasting, the beans are ready for a key step known as winnowing before grinding. This is where the goal is simple. Get to the pure, flavorful nib inside and remove the now brittle shell. First, the beans are cracked into smaller pieces by specialized machines. Then, air currents and sieves work together to blow away the lighter shells, leaving behind the heavier nibs. The nibs are the heart of the cocoa bean, packed with both flavor and cocoa butter. Clean separation is important because leftover shell fragments can make the cocoa taste bitter and gritty. By the end of the winnowing process, you have a batch of clean, uniform nibs, ready for grinding, where the process starts with coarse grinders that break them down into smaller particles, releasing the natural cocoa butter trapped inside. As the grinding continues, the mixture becomes smoother and warmer, eventually transforming into a thick, flowing paste known as cocoa liquor. Despite the name, cocoa liquor contains no alcohol. It's simply a blend of cocoa solids and cocoa butter in liquid form. At this stage, the flavor is rich, intense, and completely unsweetened. Temperature control is critical here. Too much heat can damage delicate flavor compounds, while too little won't create the silky texture needed for the next steps. By the end of grinding, the liquor is uniform and ready for further treatment, whether it's heading for alkalization or straight to pressing. Alkalization is a method developed in the Netherlands in the 19th century. It involves mixing the liquor or ground nibs with a mild alkaline solution, often potassium carbonate. The goal is to reduce the natural acidity of the cocoa, giving it a smoother taste and a deeper, richer color. The process also changes how the powder behaves in recipes, making it more soluble in liquids, perfect for hot chocolate or smooth-textured desserts. The process can be adjusted depending on the desired final product. Light alkalization keeps the cocoa closer to its natural state, while heavier treatment creates an almost black powder with a very mellow flavor. With the cocoa liquor ready, it's time for one of the most dramatic steps: pressing. In this stage, large hydraulic presses apply immense pressure, often exceeding 500 bars, to squeeze out the liquid cocoa butter from the solids. The result is two separate products: the golden aromatic cocoa butter and the compressed solid mass known as cocoa cake. Cocoa butter goes on to be used in chocolate bars, cosmetics, and even pharmaceuticals, while the cocoa cake is destined to become cocoa powder. The pressing stage can be adjusted to control how much fat remains in the cake. More fat makes a richer powder, less fat makes a lighter one. After the cocoa cake has cooled, it's time to turn it into the smooth, fine powder we know so well. The solid blocks are first broken down into smaller chunks, then fed into specialized grinding machines. These grinders work them down to a consistent, ultra-fine texture, often passing through sieves that can be as fine as 100 to 200 mesh. This stage is all about precision. The goal is to achieve a uniform powder that dissolves evenly in recipes and delivers a consistent flavor. Cooling systems are often used during grinding to prevent heat from altering the cocoa's aroma or causing clumping. By the end of this process, the cocoa powder is silky, fragrant, and ready for packaging. In large-scale production, most cocoa powder is first packed into multi-layer paper bags lined with plastic, each holding around 25 kilograms. This bulk packaging is ideal for bakeries, food companies, and export. For retail shelves, the powder is portioned into smaller formats: stand-up zipper pouches, sealed tins, or cardboard boxes with moisture-proof liners. Every package is designed to shield the cocoa from light, air, and humidity, which can cause flavor loss or clumping. Labels provide essential information such as fat content, whether it's natural or Dutch processed, and its best before date. Beyond protection, packaging also plays a big role in presentation, with attractive designs that catch the shopper's eye. By the time the cocoa leaves the factory, it's ready for kitchens, cafes, and chocolate makers everywhere, sealed for freshness until the moment it's open. So now that you've seen the journey from tropical pod to silky powder, here's something to think about. If you had the chance to create your own signature cocoa powder blend, would you go for a light, fruity flavor or a deep, dark Dutch process style? Share your thoughts in the comments section below, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos like this one.